That's
some nice
for the late game.
Yeah, I was going for that 12 full cat, so you're going to try and take advantage. If Neeb didn't do an early scout, that would have been really powerful, but I feel like more often than not, we've seen players go for this really early probe across the map to block the expansion, says no 16 hatch for you, and I think at this point as Neeb, yeah, you're going to go, wait, I haven't even seen the glimpse of a drone. This does not look normal. Let's go in and double check what's going on. And seeing that drone come down at this point, I think Neeb can safely assume he saw the lava on the hatchery. You don't need to see the spawning pool. He knows this is a 12 pool opening, and I wholly expect Neeb to be going for that double gate wall off with a quick zealot or two.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, some players do like to wall off with something like a pylon just to save some money, but Neeb is not really rushing to it at this point. There is the pylon to block the hatchery, and that's going to delay the Zerglings a little bit in itself. Early cancel, actually. Could have soaked up a little bit more damage, but maybe Neeb already feels confident or wants that money to drop the Cybercore and the Gateway on his side of things.
Indeed. And how many Zerglings will we go to? Looks like 10 full Zerglings spawn now. That's the standard commitment. Anything more than that usually means the Zerg is really going hyper aggressive. I like the way Neeb comes in behind this just to double check. Hey, this wasn't just 6 or 8 Zerglings, was it? That probe's still hanging around to confirm what's going on. And there we go. Serral's going to get to work on that second gateway. Notice that Ling on the left-hand side says, hey, if you go out too far, I am going to get behind you, Zealot, and not let you get back to the choke point. That Zealot cannot get too far from the safety of that wall. And Neeb, trying to do the greedier response here, has not pulled probes down to defend. His Zealots do get surrounded, but a nice little shuffle. One Zealot gets surrounded, the other one putting up a good account for himself. Oh, no.
Yeah, misses a couple of shots there, unfortunately. And this probe, actually, to get back in, cancels as well to try and maybe drag the Zerglings inside. He drops a Nexus. That is daring. There is an Adept about to come out. And Serral, surprisingly to me at least, wants no more to have to do with that.
I actually like this move a lot from Serral because you know you're going to get cornered in that base. Neeb's so good with his probe micro. Against a lesser Protoss, you can kind of dart in the middle line, grab a probe, force some mining time, pull back and keep circling around. But with Neeb, he's only going to do that whenever you really commit. He's going to kill a few Zerglings. The Adept's going to be shaving them off from behind. This way, you save these Zerglings, pull them home. Neeb has to worry about them backstabbing. He can't come right across the map, and those are going to give you the beginnings of the defense against the Adept counter pressure. And I think this is really nice because the last time we saw Serral do a 12 pool and get into this situation, I feel like he built extra Zerglings a bit too early in the follow-up against Trapper. Wasn't actually as far ahead as I think he maybe should have been. In this case, I like it. A quicker third base. He's going up to his gas now, and he really hasn't built any Zerglings, just 7 Zerglings. And this might actually be too greedy, in fact, as those Adepts, I think they could actually commit to the shade, but nice creep spread. There's no safe area really for these Adepts to hide.
Oh, and yet Neeb's gonna find a little bit of a pocket, but really, like you said, it's very difficult to maneuver around here, and with these Zerglings remaining, I also do like him in retrospect now picked because that is beautiful. Serral's not had to invest much into any defense. One Adept will go down. A drone barely goes down. Can he get a second one? Misses the shot, actually. Okay, 2 drones, but not a good start for Neeb.
No, 2 drones, not what you want there. Didn't really even get any mining time. Zergling gets in and gets a full scout, sees the first Oracle pop, and Neeb's laser turns on, zaps the Zergling, and then just goes on out. It is a Void Ray behind that, going to come out and try and clean up some Overlords. And you know what? Serral does have 2 Overlords on the other side of the map, which is kind of what you want to hopefully find as Neeb with that Void Ray. Secure yourself a few shutdowns. The third base kicking in for Serral, and Serral looks so well defended for the anti-air. He's going right up to 5 queens. This looks like a good spot, a launching pad, I guess you'd say, for Serral to take a big worker lead to keep on pace. I feel like Neeb is going to need a very early 3rd expansion, but it's kind of dangerous because he's got so few units to work with. He's going to move out to take his 3rd with only 1 Adept right now.
Yeah, and the same Zerglings from the start of the game. They're still remaining and they're still finding value, right? And they could really find value at this 3rd. The Overlord's gonna spot it, but Serral not choosing to move it, perhaps just lacking the link speed to try and apply additional pressure. I'm curious to see if he's gonna make more Zerglings. For now, it's just 2, but yeah, it seems like you said, he's just gonna drone up.
And both players going down very standard paths. A quick Roach Horn for safety from Serral. His Overlord comes in, sees that the Stargate is not producing. That's very important. It means he knows this is not some continual Void Ray production build. He doesn't really need to switch into quick Hydras or Spire or anything like that. And the Oracles are now going to join up for a little bit of harass.
And here's where you drop a second Stargate right after you kill the Overlord, Piggy.
And a third one as well, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a Robo instead from Neeb. The two Oracles are gonna try to find any damage that they can, but Serral's so fast on the reactions, and just yeah, the Oracles are just gonna find one drone for their double pulsar beam activation, and they're not finding much value. They're still, of course, very good defensively and against the Zerglings to secure that third, but it's been rough for Neeb. Now this Adepts.
Oh.
Piggy, that's the next step, yeah.
I don't think he spotted it. These don't have glaives. So remember, this is not like a big glaive adept timing, but it's just this odd moment. It hasn't been spotted. The Oracle's cleared up the map vision quite well. More Zerglings being built. Zerglings and Queens can defend this, but you've got to keep the Zerglings away from the Oracles. It's very tight here on making sure you defend it. Serral locks the door. What a lovely reaction there with the Evo Chamber. All three Queens having transfuses available. This is a really nice defense for Serral. Now, Neeb doesn't need to do massive damage with this by any means, but he doesn't want to throw these units away. And it's just annoying when you can't get in there and get more damage because you want to scout. What is Serral going for? And you can see the Adepts go home. The Oracles are trying to do a circuit at this base. Lovely scouting. He's going to see that infestation pit very early, and he knows that Nidus Swarmhost is on the menu.
Yes, indeed, and it is a good map for it as well. There is a lot of airspace for those Locusts to work onto the outside bases on this map. So there is the Nidus, as you called it. I am so impressed by Serral's ability to block that wall as quickly as he did, because the heads up that he had was basically the Adepts stepping on creep for what, like a couple of seconds before they shaded in? Just really impressive.
Yeah, not a lot of warning at all, but Serral, oof, one of the defensive masters of StarCraft, and even playing a more aggressive early and mid-game focused style in this matchup at the moment. He always, it's behind the aggression. There is just this immaculate defense with these fantastic little adjustments here and there. And I wonder, how are you going to stop these Nidus Worms as Neeb? There's a really scary angle, on the top left right there, exactly where the first Nidus goes down. And that's an annoying one. A couple shield batteries and cannons going down spread across the bases. Oracle's on the right. Neeb's actually going to try and push across this map and moving forward out here. But Lings and Roaches on the right. Nidus Worm, Queen, Swarmhost on the left-hand side. Another Nidus going up. Neeb really needs to deal with this first wave well. If he loses this Nexus, he's in big trouble.
Yeah, he's even added a cannon here, so he wants all the help he can get. But Neeb has 70 probes to the 66 that Serral had when the attack started, so it is him being a little bit greedy and Serral looking to punish. The Locusts will land, but the Adepts actually do a decent job. The Immortal surviving for now. No shield battery overcharge to keep it alive this time around. But yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I feel like Serral got some damage done, but not too bad for Neeb, right, Piggy?
He survives the first wave, but he did lose a few units, a bunch of sentries, an Immortal, a few Zealots, a few Adepts. That does add up because you need critical massive units to make sure you can shut down one of these waves. That Roach Ravager count is getting out of control right now, and it's just the couple of Queens that keep popping out with the Nidus Worm have been fantastic. Serral's Swarmhosts on the right-hand side do get caught a little bit. They're going to throw that Locust Wave onto Neeb's army. If Neeb can pull back, but the Roach Ravager's going to corner him. He's about to get sandwiched. Neeb, lovely recall. Quick thinking, only loses one Archon there.
Yeah, the Oracle, of course, was giving him the heads up there to know that he was getting sandwiched, and Neeb with excellent reaction. Now the Locust Wave is going to go to waste, and that's exactly what he needed. So let's see if he can hold comfortably against the rest of the army of Serral, which is by no means small.
Yeah, it's a lot of Roach Ravager, and they're just trying to trade out. They don't want to stand and fight with the Immortals. Neeb is just going to crack his own natural wall here. Of course, opens up the chance for Zergling run-bys in the future, but it's more important for Neeb to reinforce, and I like this. Already Hive and Hydroden on the way for Serral. Serral's not all in on this. He's going to work towards the Lurkers, the Vipers, and that's going to be so hard. Right now, Neeb is still just barely in survival mode, trying to hang on. And these Locusts coming in one more time. What can they find? Big quick overcharge does come down. They're actually trying to target the Templar Archives. Will they get it? Ooh, Serral snipes the Templar Archives. Roaches and Ravagers on the natural at the same time. He is finding bits of damage, and I love that. Splits off with just a few Roaches, leaves some behind to try to pick off Archons where he can. It's a good defense by Neeb. But Serral here, he's still in a very powerful forward position. He's got 2 launching pads for his Locusts, and things could crumble at any moment for Neeb.
Yeah, it's looking difficult. If Neeb cannot take damage from the next wave, but I mean, that's going to be even more difficult without Archons to be made, since that Templar Archives was sniped, right? So it's more and more difficult, like you're saying, and Serral behind us, he's taken a fourth. He's continued his creep spread as you would expect that he would. And here comes the next wave. This one wants to fight the army with the roaches. It lands right onto the tech units there. Picks off an Immortal and an Archon, and there's barely any AoE at all to speak of.
Devastating. Every single time you get an Archon, it's great, but that's like 2 Archons and an Immortal Zealots are finally clearing up the left-hand side launching pad. But Neeb here has already got his Lurker down on the way. He's adding Hydras. He's got Swarm Host ready on the right-hand side to pop out one more time. And the army is finally clearing up the middle and part of the left-hand side, but there's still creep tumors that haven't been dealt with. Neeb's 4th base is just out in the middle of the map on the left. This is such a weird position to be in. Neeb is going to need to dig deep to hang on here. There is an onslaught of roaches on the left and another wave of locusts into the main base.
Yeah, unfortunately for Neeb, I mean, his supply has not been going up. It's been going down a little bit. His tech has been reset somewhat, and Serral has continued to expand. So it looks worse and worse for the North American champion here as he is about to lose his main Nexus.
Yeah, main Nexus goes down, does stop his +2 upgrade. The Roach Hydra jumps on the front, and Neeb's army gets overwhelmed. True swarm style there from Serral, and that's a good map for it. We could see the power of those 2 Nidus Worm angles, both on the extreme edges of the map, and it really looked like it was something Neeb could have got on top of. And I think Neeb is probably a little frustrated himself because there was a moment, I think it was the second Nidus, the right-hand side of the map. He had 2 oracles there, but they didn't manage to spot it early enough. So Neeb was a little slow to turn on his laser beams. Once those 3 queens popped out, that was a second area. There was creep spread there. So even if he cleared it up after that, it was easy to just pop another Nidus Worm down over and over again. And obviously, you're at that moment as the Protoss. You've got Archons, Immortals, Zealots. You're like, just give me another 30 seconds to a minute to get these units out. Then I can split up and deal with these 2 angles. But right at that point, as long as Serral stays on that low work account like he did, finds damage, works the angles, Neeb just not able to cover such a wide area on such a big map.
Yeah, and we saw Scarlet doing similar things, not necessarily with Swarmhost, but just abusing Neeb in the mid game before he gets to a very comfortable position for him, which is, you know, leading into the late game. And he is one of the players that will transition the fastest into that late game as a Protoss player. So this is something that Scarlet thought to herself, okay, like this is something that I can exploit. And it looks like Serral is coming in with a similar mentality, with a similar mindset of not letting Neeb outgreed him, because that is something that Neeb will attempt to do to Zergs, and it is yeah, it has not gone unnoticed even from the start, right? The 12 pool there was obviously a very hectic start as well. It did everything that Serral wanted it to do. It killed a gateway, it killed 2 Zealots that were maybe a little bit on the careless side, getting surrounded by Neeb. And yeah, like you said, I mean, he pulls back with the Zerglings, such great discipline. The Adepts never had an option to do damage on the counter offense. And then the follow-up Adepts didn't do anything either because of that wonderful block. So it was just Serral all the way through, kind of just snowballing the very early lead, I think.
Indeed. Fantastic series there. And we'll be hopping over to Europe for the next game. And I really love seeing this matchup, honestly, because that one was Serral really just showing, okay, I'm going to be brutally aggressive. I'm going to get in my opponent's face and go for it as hard and fast as possible. And it's this willingness to commit so much. And I think that's what a lot of people aren't necessarily expecting from the old Serral. But this is the new Serral that's like, wait, why does he look so dominating? It's because he's like, no, I'm going to stop at 3 base saturation. I am going to take the fight to my opponent hard and fast. Remember, this opened with a 12 pool as well. It's waves of aggression. It is the reinvention, I think, of himself as a player, which has been happening this entire year for Serral. A lot of people have criticized it. They've said, you know, why don't you just rely on that late game? You're the best at that stage of the game. Keep doing that. And I honestly think for your longevity as a StarCraft player, that's a bad way to play. I think you have to reinvent yourself because this is a strategy game. And if you become predictable, you put yourself in a box. You always say every game, even against someone I'm favored versus, has to be a 40-minute gruel fest where I have to play super late game. No, you should be taking easy wins. You should be dangerous. You should have range as a player. And I think that's something that Serral has developed. And yes, there's been some stumbling blocks along the way, but I think we see him getting so confident with such variety of strategies. It's so hard to play against him. And Neeb has his work cut out for him.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's a reinvention that we've seen a little bit less on the side of Neeb, right? He's still very well known for that macro and where he wants to play and what his comfort zone is. So let's see if he can mix it up, if he can continue to reinvent himself. But first, the GOAT in the bottom left-hand side of the map. It is Ensei's Serral.
And his opponent, of course, raising the flag for North America and the US of A. Up here in the top right, representing Ting Esports, it is Neeb. And once again goes for a very early probe to block the expansion, and Serral reacts with a spawning pool first. That's a 16 pool, I believe. So it's going to be potentially going for maybe 6 early Zerglings to pressure across this map. An interesting way of dealing with it. Notice that drone hiding outside the natural. He's hoping he can come back in and take that expansion when the probe comes up into the main.
Yes, indeed. And that's exactly what he's going to do. So Neeb has been fooled, as he's going to see that there is potentially a pullback here, but the hatchery will be dropped back on location. So very nice moves here by Serral. It's a thing that's been happening a little bit, right? The mind game to the block here.
Indeed. Well, Neeb, interestingly, has actually stopped on 18 supply right now. Is he cannon rushing? Oh, he did not realize it was pool first, I think, for a little bit there. Maybe we got a bit surprised, and that's interesting. Stopping probing it a bit earlier than I expected. No gas for Neeb just yet.
Oh, no. Is he going to make 2 zealots? Pig. Oh, my God. Oh, no. Pig. He's doing... I sent him a replay yesterday. Okay.
Please tell us this. Give us the rundown.
Okay, so this is going to be a shield battery rush. He's going to make a couple of shield batteries between that pylon and the hatchery. The problem is that Serral opened pool. He didn't go for that third hatchery, and Neeb seems to have been dead set on doing this. I guess he really liked it. I really didn't think that he would be using it. But ideally, this happens at the third base and with not a pull out. So I feel so bad right now because this is such an uncomfortable situation for Neeb. And I don't think that the Zealots and the Adepts are going to find any damage here.
Well, this is actually something where he never saw that spawning pool until the Zerglings were out. And even then, he didn't even realize because he was hiding behind the natural. So Neeb never got that information. I always think, is it really worth hiding your spawning pool on the far left like that? But in this case, it was. It actually is the rare case where the probe didn't go for the full scout. Neeb saw that there was drones being built and the base was heavily saturated. I think he just assumed the third base had gone down. He assumed a drone had kind of gone out, taken that base. And indeed, it was not the case. So Neeb doesn't really find any damage. He forces out 4 extra Zerglings, but he's delayed his gas. His tech is going to be a fair bit later. That's about a 30-second delay on your Stargate. He's going to try and find some follow-up with the Zealots. I like that he's trying to work his way through, but definitely an odd scenario. We're going to see how both players navigate these very rare waters they find themselves in.
Yeah, Neeb trying to keep the Zealots here to deny the third, but Serral too good, even bringing a Queen here to help. So, I mean, the Zealots don't trade terribly here. They get quite a few, almost all of the links. So, not the worst thing in the world there for Neeb, but let's remember his tech was delayed by this, right? Like, it's a great deal of an investment to make 2 Zealots and that Adept. And man, I'm so happy and so sad at the same time because I would have loved to see this play out against against the normal response, right? Where he just takes the hatchery somewhere else.
Indeed. We didn't get to see it in ideal circumstances, but I actually think it's playing out quite well here. I like the Void Ray first to shut down the Overlord. 2 Adepts are already here. He's forcing a lot of Zerglings out of Serral. Serral is down a handful of workers right now. That's not necessarily abnormal for this stage, but it feels like Neeb is like stitching together his follow-up pressure and harassment quite nicely. And I like the way he knows the Zerglings are hunting those Adepts. He's got to get home.
Yes, indeed. And they're going to pick off a couple of Zerglings here. It looks like they might be able to get out. Nice jukes there by Neeb, but yeah, actually both get out. I thought one was going to die for sure.
Oh, they are still very low though, so still a little exposed on
Oh,
that
no,
base.
no!
Oh, no, that probe is not helping there. Prismatic alignment to, of course, not add bonus damage to those Zerglings. The Adept does go down. Not the end of the world, but it is a nice scout and a good little trade. A bit of a disruption, just a bit of mining time. Void Ray is going to clean that one up, and Neeb going into Oracles behind this, up to the 3rd and 4th gas. Serral would love to see that 3rd and 4th gas on the natural expand. Has Serral spotted the 3rd base? He actually hasn't, so he's building more Zerglings, but he does need to get this information to kind of keep his finger on the pulse of this game. It actually feels like this one is really close right now, Cats. I'm impressed with how well Neeb has navigated that awkward start.
Yeah, it's pretty good actually. It was an awkward start indeed, but that is the kind of thing that awkward starts will do, is they'll force your opponent to make choices that they don't usually make. And you know, Serral, as much as he is a little bit chaotic and whatnot, I doubt he's seen 2 Zealots 2 open. So, you know, maybe I don't know if he overreacted or anything like that. It actually looks like Neeb is not trailing too many workers behind, only just the 4. He's taking his third at a good timing. It's not bad at all here, Piggy.
Indeed. Sentries warping in, the Forge and the Twilight Council coming down, along with that Robo to start getting into the next stage. I expect to see Chargelot Archon Immortal out of Neeb in this series. I don't think we're going to be seeing any Colossus play, but we'll keep our eyes on it. Double Oracle comes in the natural. Spire gets cancelled for Serral. Does not want that quick Spire to get spotted, and he immediately rebuilds it in the third base. The Adepts come in and spot it.
Yeah, and let's see what happens here as the response for Neeb. I expect if he has seen it, there should be maybe a second starport going up. 7 drones, 8 drones have gone down to these Adepts. Actually, very nice damage.
Oh, the stasis in the main forces a bit of mining time as well. Serral reacted at the last second. Yeah, this is a lot of damage, Cats. This is really impressive. And I got to say, though, as a Protoss player as well myself, and someone who's played from the perspective of Neeb, this is one of the more annoying styles to play against. Like, that's great damage, but Infestation Pit and Spire, Serral's playing, which one do you think I'm going to commit to? You know, I'm going to build both, and you don't know, am I going to build a big round of Mutas, or am I going to do Nidus Swarmhost again? I got to say that the damage that Neeb's done, it does buy him a lot more time, which is very important, but he'd love to get a bit more information. He's going to see the Spire. He hasn't seen the Infestation Pit yet, and I think Serral's very aware of that. And the hallucination flies over the Spore. So this, I think, really makes Serral just want to go Nidus Swarmhost. He commits once again. 11 Swarmhosts do power up. And it looks like he's preparing for that exact same sort of game plan. Neeb, though, he's trying to keep him uncomfortable, pressuring on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I like this. If he can be out on the map and force the Locust wave out here without losing too much of an army, that'll be fantastic. Unfortunately, for Neeb, no Observer to start pushing back that creep and really make something happen on this side. He's going to pull back now. I mean, staying out on the map, like to the middle of it or so, if you cover the more annoying positions and you can shut down the first and second maybe Nidus, it becomes such a good snowball for the Protoss side of things. I would love to see Neeb stay proactive, but does he even know yet, Pig?
No, he doesn't. His hallucinations keep getting sniped by those Queen's Cats. There's no Nidus Worm, which is going to make it a little simpler to deal with, but look at the creep spread and these Queens coming forward as well. So the problem with this style is just a mass Roach Ravager Locust attack. I think they knew this was coming and wasn't investing in a couple Phoenix and a second Stargate. He'd be a little more comfortable. He does need a few more Archons. These batteries aren't quite ready just yet. Good force field's going to zone out most of the Roach Ravager. Those Locusts, though,
Yeah, they're gonna go after the overcharged battery right away, but their life is about to expire. A couple of these Ravagers will actually get trapped, but the Vials preemptively already breaking force fields. Okay, this is not too bad for Neeb. He's on the chase right now. Okay, he's gonna respect the Vials, however, Pig. And Locusts, I mean, they're waiting.
Those Queens are very exposed. I mean, Serral is really doing a bit of a crazy push version here with how far forward his Queens are. He's trying to bully back Neeb, and I think if Neeb rotates down and catches these Swarmhosts, Serral could just lose the game very suddenly. Serral is being so wildly aggressive here. Ooh, good micro on the Locusts. They don't land on the Zealots, and that's unfortunate for Neeb, whose main base is looking a little vulnerable right now. He cannot afford to lose that Nexus, but it looks like he might.
It looks like he will. If Serral wants it, he'll have it. A lot of units are coming back for Neeb, but no, Serral's instead gonna go after the probes and the cannon, so will not kill the Nexus, which I think might have been a little bit the safer call. 14 probes, however, is not anything to scoff at. And now this Roach is on the natural base of Neeb. This is not looking too great right now, Pig.
Yeah, he catches the Roach Ravager, but notice the way Serral disengages every time he's caught. If he stood his ground and fought, that would be really bad for Serral. But defensively, Roach Ravager is amazing. He forces those units to eat the Vials. He picks off a lot of the valuable units. Neeb's doing a great job of defending his natural with the air units. But, okay, Zealot warping in the main. He's got to buy himself some time, does Neeb. Neeb realizes right now that this is going to be a bit awkward. Those Zealots in the main, though, they need to start focus firing workers. Taking out a few Queens and Roaches is good, but they're going to stagnate on this ramp at a certain point. And Serral is remaxing on Roaches. He is doing super well right now. This army on the right, this is a ballsy push. I don't know, though. That's way too much Roach Ravager. Neeb has to get out.
Oh, no, Serral's too good. Did you see that, Pig? He landed one single Locust to activate the trap by Neeb, and that was supposed to buy Neeb so much more time. So yeah, that is just ridiculous. And Jal catching it all.
Yeah, this is absolutely just massive plays by Serral. He's still got 11 swarm hosts on the map. He's mostly on Roach Ravager, which obviously doesn't scale that well. But when you've got that and the swarm host, which is the kind of renewable, efficient resource, you've got your +2 attacks, you're adding things like tunneling claws for a little bit more extra play. And look at these swarm hosts. Just the way Serral's been moving these swarm hosts around this map, this is the sort of replay you look at as Neeb, and it's frustrating. Oh, there's Locust Roach Ravager coming in. Storm is not ready just yet. That mineral line is in peril right now. Zealots are trying to distract on the other side of the map. They're trying to pull the attention away, but every probe he falls, every single time he loses a cannon, it is a bit of a pain in the butt, and another 4 workers go down, and there's a massive Roach Ravager army. Storm is not quite ready, and that natural's looking open.
Oh, and a few roaches are gonna go in. Serral not overcommitting here. He doesn't want to lose his army for nothing, but instead just apply some pressure, make Neeb make the difficult decision here of kind of sectioning his own army. Big warpins by Neeb, but he has stayed on the same amount of supply for the last, I want to say, like 3 or 4 minutes. It's really not been great. Storm, will it have a say in the matter, Pig?
Serral actually also just took down the Void Ray in the midst of the chaos. Neeb wasn't watching. There's too many things for him to manage. The way, look at the way the Locusts abuse the structure placement there. They get in that little corner. The Zealots can't actually deal with them, and that might secure.
Oh, no!
Yes, it gets the Nexus kill. Oh, man.
Oh, and now it is just very, very difficult for Neeb. He has only 2 mining bases. This is becoming an impossible situation. Serral continues to assert himself on the map with that good creep spread, as you would expect, and now Nidus Worms being added into the fray. It's looking very, very difficult, and there's a transition as well, right? Like the Hive Lurker, then Serral's not slouching anywhere.
Yeah, this is a tough one here. Still, of course, a big army supply lead for Serral, but with +3 attack on the way and a ton of Psystorm, there is hope for Neeb fans. Remember, he can still build a Supermax and push through the Roach Ravager. Lurkers have not hit the field yet. There is no super powerful defensive unit, but he can't afford to lose any Immortals or High Templar out here. Oh, no!
Oh, that is just so rough. I mean, most of these roaches will survive, and Serral has burrows, so if he burrows right now, I'll just be so sad, because they'll heal so very fast, and it's looking like Neeb is just struggling to find anything here. Okay, talk about anything. That would be nice, but no, Serral reacts too quickly. Neeb does not get to do his body blocks. At least 1 Locust Wave will be forced, and a few Storm Hosts will go down, but it's still the North American champion against the ropes.
Yeah, Serral's bank is not that big. Remember, he's been on that low worker count this whole game. So, I mean, I keep mentioning, okay, if he could just stop hemorrhaging units, the hope is there. And after taking out the Swarm Hosts, you know, maybe you get a 4th base up and you could play a macro game. But Lurkers are starting to hit the field. +3 attack is on the way for Serral. He's already got +1 carapace, so he's actually going to be keeping up in the upgrades with Neeb. The Roach Ravager still running around and just looking for pickoffs, and this is that bullying Zerg play. This army of Serral's, that pack of Roaches, is terrible against that army. But if you just come in, pick off an Archon, run away, well, suddenly it's doing its job, and it's doing it damned well. So this has been Serral this entire game. Honestly, just bullying play. He's always catching Neeb out of position. He's running into dangerous areas, taking the damage, and then getting out of there before Neeb can respond. This is a frustrating style to play against, as the Roaches, they're going to find the High Templar again.
Oh, yeah. The High Templars are going to have a say in the matter, as they will use their weather powers on the Roaches, and now the Immortals chasing as well as Stalkers. This was not too bad, actually. A pretty decent trade for Neeb, and he is at the highest supply that he has been all game so far, actually. So maybe there is hope for Neeb fans, Big.
Yeah, he's going to be coming forward. There's no detection except 1 red hit point observer, though. That's not going to be enough to smash through. I don't think there's 7, 8 Lurkers have moved forward. But look at that movement by Neeb. He's going to say, okay, you know what? If you come forward, I can actually take this out. I don't think he can push through those Lurkers, though. Even with that core of Immortals, almost all of their barriers are gone. Oh, Serral sniping High Templar takes a big storm to the face, loses his 5th expansion as well. A good punish here by Neeb, but he's going to lose his 4th in return, potentially, and that is not something he can afford to lose right now. He needs that 4th base so desperately.
Yeah, he really does, and it's not like he can take the top left-hand corner either. Oh no, it is a Lurker ambush!
My god, Serral ran forward with the Lurker, set up an ambush. Neeb was not expecting that. He's like, no, I'm the one with the scary army on the map. He goes back and stumbles into the Lurker trap. Serral.
Were they on hold fire? I didn't see.
They were not on hold fire, but it was just such a surprising position. Neeb was not even looking at it. And Serral, honestly, this is bullying, dangerous, powerful play. He's on the cusp of already securing his spot in that grand finals. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everybody. The series is, of course, about to continue here. It is a 2-0 advantage for the Finnish player. Not particularly unexpected, but especially in that second game, I think a few things kind of not quite getting caught there by Neeb.
Yeah, starting with that pool, unfortunately for him, I mean, I'm so happy and so sad, like I was saying, that he was willing to try such a crazy opener, and we didn't see it really unfold as it's intended to. It's actually not my build. It's my friend's build. Root Succeed. You might remember him, Pig. He was around very briefly the start of Legacy of the Void. He had a couple of good results, but yeah, he still plays, and you know, he made that build, and I stole it, and I thought that some protos could use it, but not this time around. All right. So Lightshade is going to be the next map, though.
Indeed. I love seeing those creative playstyles come out, and you do not expect one of the best EVP players in the world to be going a 16 pool in reaction to a pylon block, but he's been aggressive from the start. It's a 12 pool, a 16 pool. What comes out in map 3, we've got to keep our eyes open because the Finnish Zerg player has been so aggressive in this series, and it is continuing. He wants this series over. In the bottom right-hand side, representing NC Sports, he is Serral.
Merciless. And going for a very early scout once again at the top left-hand side, it is the North American champion, Neeb! Give him your energy, please.
I do love the passion of American sports fans. Like the chants, Neeb, always my favorite one back in the day. And, you know, I know there's so many people who are so excited to see. Obviously, Neeb has looked utterly dominant in PVT right now. You know, for me, I kind of wish, just for the American fans, this was him versus Clem in the semifinal, because I actually think Neeb might even be favored in that match. This is a tough one for him, but he's going to get this information he needs. He's going to go in, and he goes, okay, that's an early pool once again, and Neeb going to be reacting to that in a bit more of a standard fashion. Similar to game number 1, is going to be going for that wall off. Now, he did, remember, lose a gateway, as well as both of his zealots, getting them surrounded to the wall off. We've seen a lot of other Protoss players in this situation opt for bringing not just the 2 zealots, but also about 3 or 4 probes to help fight with them so that they can make sure the gateways survive. It's a lot of mining time though, and I actually kind of really enjoy the way Neeb defends, but it relies on him making very few mistakes. Otherwise, the opening gets a little bit messier. Let's see how he goes. 2 zealots are being chrono boosted. His second pylon's finished in the main. He's going up to that second gas before Nexus, so he does want to have the quick tech. It's going to be zealots, then adepts counterattacking, then oracles. But before he gets there, he's got to survive this.
Yeah, and there's a lot of surface area both on this gateway and on the cyber core. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Serral didn't go for the cyber core instead, as it would have been a little bit faster to kill. But yet still, I mean, the 2 zealots, we saw them struggle last time around. Neeb, please be confident in what you're gonna do next. Oh no, please don't get surrounded again. Oh, Pig, this is not good.
Oh, I think he could have shuffled to the left-hand side and maybe it would have been okay, but now he's got to build the wall off and it's still going to go down. That gateway is toast. That second adept will not finish. The first one will, but we'll get some money back and he's going to go for a Nexus in the face of this once again. You know, it's not a great start, but it's also not terrible, remember. Losing the Zealots is obviously unfortunate, especially when you only get 5 Zerglings. The adept's going to be able to counter pressure potentially. Immediate Stargate up in the main base. Now, of course, Serral's going to take a worker lead naturally, but no gas and no third base for a long while. And it's going to be about defending the oracles, the adepts that come out to counteract this, and seeing where it goes from there. I imagine the game will settle in a rather even position. The scary thing when you're looking down a 0-2 disadvantage as Neeb is you've just lost a little bit of momentum. And that's exactly what Serral's been all about in this series. It is momentum.
Yes, indeed. And Serral doing the turn thing. They're mining one of his minerals before making the hatchery. He's never getting those back. Or do you think that hatchery just absorbs them? Like at least for nutrition or something of the likes?
Yeah, I like to imagine it's just like having a few vitamins, you know, getting some extra supplements. The hatchery, you know, you might not notice a huge benefit, but maybe it's got a more healthy digestive system or something. I don't know. Squeezes out some fitter lava. We'll see how it goes. The adepts are going to come forward now. Likes to skimp on those Zerglings. I mean, it's so funny. I see a lot of people do 12 pool, and they always are like, okay, 2 adepts are coming. Let's make sure I have 14 Zerglings. Serral's like, I have 7 or 9 Zerglings, and I'm fine. He's very comfortable because his creep is so early. His queen's forced the shade out very far away. But oh, here we go. Neeb finds himself a nice little corner.
Yeah, but Serral already with us around, and Neeb is trying to dance around to find some more drones. Oh, almost finds one, but one adept goes down before shooting, so he'll find 3 total, which is not too bad, plus a couple of links for his efforts. So not the worst start here for those adepts. Now the oracles that you were mentioning are being made. The Void Ray is looking for overlords that he's not going to find, unfortunately, on the lower end of the map.
Yeah, well, he did already get 1 Overlord and a Zergling with the Void Ray, so not too bad for starters. And he's going to use that Void Ray to secure the third base. The Oracle is now out, sitting outside. The natural expand, drone count's going down, and that second Stargate in the main base, Cats. We are seeing 2 Stargate Phoenix.
All right. Well, I like it quite a bit. If it's unscouted, this type of strategy can be so very powerful. It could also help a great deal against what Serral has been doing with those swarm hosts. The Phoenix can really punish those. They can punish the locusts on the air and the swarm hosts on the ground. Oh, and the Oracle actually finding... Okay, let's start believing in chat. Hello? Finding a couple of drones and forcing a couple of morphs as well. Make it 4. Okay, not bad, Pig. Not bad.
And he gets out after being very greedy. Going for that 5th drone kill was beyond greedy. He gets out of there with his life. That's a good bit of damage. And definitely, Nidus Swarm Host play in general is very weak against 2 Stargate Phoenix, in my opinion. I remember Neeb, actually, I believe he eliminated Rogue a couple of years ago from the GSL when Rogue was a bit obsessed with the same strategy, same scenario. Those Adepts do get shut down. Only 2 workers there. Serral scouts the 3rd expansion. Does Serral have any idea? I think this is the point where those Zerglings, if they poke at the front, they see 1 Adept at the 3rd, 1 Adept in the wall. That's a bit of a tell. And it's very important that Serral doesn't build any roaches here and that he keeps droning. If he can get enough drones and overlords out, he's going to be able to react to that first wave of Phoenix. And wow, look at this read from Serral, just going up to 5 gases, droning super hard. Serral playing this really well.
Yeah, he really is. And of course, Adepts are very low on gas. The Overlord is finally going to come in all the way from the right-hand side. So this is the first time that the Phoenix are going to reveal themselves. And now with that, Neeb is going to want to cross the map and find whatever damage he can find. Serral is going to have to tighten his defenses, run the Queens to the barriers, and just maybe make spores in between so that the drones can transfer safely.
Oh, interesting. He's going to go for triple queen. Response is Serral not building any spores between the bases, so he's just going to try and shore up in each mineral line. Builds an extra few spores next to the mineral lines, but not in between the bases. He just wants to protect those, and he's getting that Spire up as well. Now, that Spire is always an interesting one. It's been spotted immediately being out front the base. An extra Void Ray queues up here for Neeb, but he's already gone double Robo. So he cancels his Void Ray. He says, actually, let's just cut air production. You can build a big wave of Corruptors. I'm going to swap into ground play. And that's totally fine. You can go for as many flying units as you want. These Phoenix are going to find damage before you get those Corruptors out. And then they're going to be a bit more defensive. They're going to be used just to defend the Corruptors whenever they come in and try to Caustic Spray down a Nexus and Forge, Twilight, non-stop probing. I like this response from Neeb. I think it's a great way to play against Spire.
Yeah, and I like that he's making Void Rays now, Pig. I was wondering if he would be willing to make Void Rays against Corruptors. A lot of players aren't, but Neeb is going to make use of his double Spire as well as he can. So that is also nice to see. The Phoenix finding whatever damage they can. And you talked about this. He didn't make any spores in between the bases. Do you find that that's... I mean, it has to be a deliberate choice, I imagine. But what is the strength of that? I mean, just saving the...
Yeah, he's trying to focus on defending the drones, but there are still some drones going down, a queen getting picked off as well. He's trying to create these just areas where he's saying, look, let's not let those Phoenix go ham, picking up the workers in the mineral line. Because if you let them use all their energy, it's just so costly. I mean, right now it's 18 workers killed. That sounds like a lot. It's not that bad against 2 Stargate Phoenix. The problem for Serral, of course, is that his 4th base has no workers on it just yet. So he's kind of, if he doesn't drone that 4th base soon, then he's falling behind income-wise, or at least not behind, but it's even, which we kind of consider behind. If you're building Roaches and Zerglings and these sort of units, and Corruptors do get hard counted by Void Rays. That's kind of another example of the same thing, where the Protoss is actually building the unit that is the hard counter. It's going to be a dangerous scenario, and the longer Serral stays on this lower worker count, the more all-in he becomes.
Yeah, this is definitely turning out to be a little bit of a strange game, right? The Void Rays are very strong defensively against those Corruptors, but not so much offensively against those Queens and the many spores that Serral has made. He is finally situating his 4th base, and Neeb is going to get a nice hallucination scout, sees a lot of Zerglings and Roaches being produced to attack his 4th base. So it's now going to be the point of contention. With this many Void Rays, I'm not sure that Serral can do much of anything here, Pig.
Good micro, though. He's already taken out 2 Phoenix, and the Bile's very dangerous. They can force them to disengage. That 4th base gets taken out, and Serral cancels the 4th there. Neeb finds himself here a bit caught off by this attack. Remember, he doesn't really have a lot on the ground yet. It's a few Immortals, couple Sentries, couple Zealots. He does need to get that next stage up. I honestly think Archons would be an absolute godsend. If he can get a few Archons out, that'd be great. Flux Veins, +1 air attacks on the way. It's going to be Void Ray Immortal Charge Lot for now. Nice. Of course, Corrosive Vials take out the Stasis Trap. Zerglings looking for the run by on the natural. They're going to find it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that the Void Rays did not engage the Corruptors there. Oh, wow. Serral burrowing a few Zerglings at the natural as well, being as annoying as he can be, and slowly chipping away at this entrance and the pylons. I don't know. How many Void Rays does he want before engaging the Corruptors, you think? Because it seems like he's focusing more on the... I see.
Yeah, I think he wants to chase them down. Ooh, that's a nice one. The Zergling Unburrow, though. Oh, that's such a good move. And the Corruptors in the main as well. Serral, once again, he bullies Neeb back with this crazy push on the front, which he was never going to win that fight. Neeb says, get the heck out of here. How dare you do that? He immediately counterattacks from the bottom with the Zealots, but that main base Nexus gets sniped. And once again, Serral finds himself 4 base versus 2 base. It's been the story of this series. Every composition, he finds a snipe on the main base. Every single game, he keeps doing it. And Neeb, it feels like he's trying to play catch up on the tech. That being said, his supply is way better than it's been at any point in this series. And Serral is doubling down on Corruptor production. If Neeb just doubles down on Void Rays and builds enough of them, I think at a certain point, about 12 Void Rays, I don't care how many Corruptors you have, that's going to be an awkward fight.
Yeah, that's definitely true, but at the same time, Neeb has been denied of a 4th, and Serral has burrowed links on each of his potential 4ths. So let's see what he is able to accomplish here. He has focused a lot on the ground army as well, which is rather surprising. A good stasis trap, but now also Banelings in the mix. They're not gonna connect with too many light units, and here's the Void Rays to help out. The Phoenix go chase after the Ravagers, and they're gonna pick a few of those up. And the ground army really chasing the air army has no business there, but I'm also a little bit surprised all the Flux Veins were activated at the same time. This is a little bit dangerous for Neeb.
Yeah, the prismatic alignment wears off there. There's still a lot of Corruptors popping out. Serral is going crazy on that. And the thing is, as the Archons come in, I'd love to see... I mean, this is where the 4th base not being there really affects Neeb. You know, if you can add Storm in this situation, you're in such an amazing spot, right? But he doesn't have the 4th base gas. And as you pointed out, he can't just move out and take that 4th base because he's only got 1 Observer in his army. These Corruptors have been so aggressive. Now, Serral is finding himself, though, in an awkward position because he's like, wait, that's a max out Immortal Archon Void Ray army. I don't know if I can handle that with just Banelings and Ravagers. He's trying to swap back into Hydras. That's a tech transition that's going to take a long time to get underway. It is not ready yet.
Yeah, and it looks like Neeb might be ready to move out, which would be one of his strongest possible moves. I think this is a very scary army. I mean, there is not a ton of anti-air. Oh, be careful with your Void Ray, Neeb. Okay, with the Archon support, they're going to zone out the Corruptors, but a few of those Void Rays already pretty low. This is a scary push on the side of Neeb. Banelings being morphed by Serral right now to try and hold on. It's not going to be an easy hold, however, if Neeb commits to it.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where Serral has kind of just shepherded Neeb into an all-in situation. He's trying to build another Prism and an Observer. I mean, the Corruptors, the way they've been moving on this map, has got to be so frustrating for Neeb. They found the Warp Prism on the move out. They forced him to pull back. This buys time to make so many Banelings and Ravagers. And you know what? Banelings are so good, even against Immortals and Archons. If they can find them pumped up, they will still be quite effective. They're going to come forward as Stasis Trap catches a few. The Biles landing across this army. This is still looking kind of dicey for Serral right now. He's only got 15 Banelings left in here.
It looks good for Neeb. A lot of the Banelings not finding the connections that they wanted, and now the Corruptors jumping onto the army of Neeb. However, Neeb has already cleared the base that he wanted to clear. He's continuing his push, but he has to be careful with those Archons not getting too far ahead of the army. Hello?
I think he's got to go home. I think he's a little bit overexposed as Neeb. He's got to be a bit more careful here. He's trying to push forward, but now in the tail end, he's lost all of his Archons. The Corruptors overwhelm the Void Rays. It's Immortals versus Ravagers. Zealots trying to be warped in here, but Neeb in such a desperate circumstance. The Prism gets taken down. It's still so close, but I think with the Zergling reinforce, and look at those Ravagers, that's the dangerous pack. The Immortals need to take those Ravagers out, cats.
Yeah, the big problem here for Neeb is no more reinforcements are allowed, so the reinforcements for Serral will eventually clean this out. Neeb has to kill as many roaches as possible, and on the retreat, I mean, Serral already going for the 3rd Nexus with his Corruptors. They're not gonna be sitting idly by, though Neeb does a nice warping and target fires the right Corruptors, but it's not gonna be enough. He also cleared the circling at his 4th so that he can retake it, but now he has 2 bases to retake.
Yeah, immediately rebuilds the 3rd base. Can't afford that 4th. Needs to make a big round of Archons here. Serral only on 53 workers. Did keep 4 hatcheries alive, though. And Neeb, he